So, Sean, what do you, as a successful businessman in the UK, take home each month?
Oh, we do all right. We pay the bills. Mustn't grumble.
In my hometown, I'm among the best paid at about 200,000 pesos each month. Selling water is a good line in Mexico.
Do your children have a private education?
Of course, and the servants look after the house. We have no problem traveling to England for the company meetings and 3-day conferences. Looking forward to it getting started tomorrow. Sally, what about you as a secretary? What is your normal wage? Are you benefiting from the successful sales?
It's okay, I guess. Average secretarial wages. Secretaries get between £15,000 and £25,000 per year, depending on experience.
That's good money for a secretary.
Oh.
Well, I don't mean to boast, but business is great for us. Selling water and fruit juice is a great job. We enjoy lots of perks. So tell me, Sean, what is your wage, and is it typical for England?
We've got a nice house, and the children go to a good school, but we're okay, considering.
Yes, but how much do you earn?
Sorry, is that the time? I hate to leave, but it really is time for us to go. Come on.
How inappropriate. Where do they think they are?
Americans. I don't discuss income with anyone except my employer.
Was it something I said?
James, that was very rude of you. Do you not understand that not all things are comfortable for public discussion? And Matilda, your question was much too direct for a polite conversation.
Right. So what are your thoughts on this? How would you be using this in the classroom?
Conversation.
Teaching
conversation.
Okay. Can you be a bit more specific?
I might use this for teaching the basic conversation. But the problem, sometimes the student needs subtitles.
Subtitles. Okay. So you would add subtitles. Okay. And then would you design a task?
For instance, for table manners or something like this, because talking about dinner.
Okay. All right.
And what kind of questions you can ask, especially for Americans, they don't like to deal with money.
Okay.
They don't like to talk about
the intercultural
communication.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how would you use it? So that's the what, right? The intercultural communication. How would you use it? What would you ask your students to do?
Frankly speaking, I wouldn't use this dialogue in my classroom.
Because?
From different kinds of perspectives, it's not quite correct. I don't know by whom it was created. I mean, probably by students from who are not familiar with just all the cultural.
It was created by language educators for this Machinima workshop that was done in 2014, right?
I think this is very good for not only teaching conversation, also talking about culture learning. And then the students can discuss what is appropriate conversation topics, what is inappropriate topic.
And you say, Svetlana, that this is something that...
Well, I think that the question about salary, about how much do you earn per month or per year, it's a kind of not polite question, not only in the United States, but practically in all the countries in the world.
Is that so? But in my experience, I hope nobody here is from France. I have French friends who have absolutely no issue in discussing. Yeah, all right. So this would be a no-no in Russia.
It's okay in Taiwan as well.
Is it okay to discuss income?
You teach in that university, so you must earn a lot of money there. And how much money do you earn?
I would find that very inappropriate, but in my experience, just thinking of some of my friends, they're absolutely fine with that.
Yeah.
So,
With friends, probably.
okay, so it depends on the degree of formality. Okay. So very interesting. These are all aspects that you can touch on in the classroom. Any other thoughts?
I think that to introduce this field depends on the level of the students.
What
If they
level
are
would you
basic,
use it with?
intermediate, at least intermediate, or more advanced ones. So
Okay.
they can carry out their discussion about the cohesion, cultural cohesion. And I think that maybe it is better for them to produce this machine by themselves after the discussion. So this will, I think this will intrigue some more interesting topics among the students. And I also think it's very hard for me to introduce this film to the class, since that I need much knowledge about the background. So if they do not know the background, very difficult for me to. I do know what's the purpose of this film.
Yeah.
So to teach the language or to teach the differences in the cultures. So.
But there is a bit of an overlap, though, right, between this, what we talked about, this communicative competence and intercultural communication and competence. It is something that came up in my classes. We were discussing this, and people were asking more information about the background. And interestingly enough, that triggered so much conversation, trying to figure out what the background was. That in itself was fascinating to me. Okay, any other thoughts?
And also more and more multicultural students you have in a classroom, the more and more interesting it gets, because you can really have a discussion about contrastive and also comparative analogies or also differences. This is really interesting, and it inspires you to just to talk.
Which discuss this step, because I think what you are saying is that it's too stereotypical and might not be, but just that kind of discussion, I suppose, would be interesting to see whether different cultures agree with that portrayal of what British would discuss.
So it would make sense that in a monolingual class where students are all coming from the same country, this is more difficult to approach. Okay. Any other thoughts? Language, do we? We have to teach culture. We have to teach so many different aspects. We have to teach literacies, not just literacy, right? Multimodality, not just the linguistic mode. That is something that's paradoxical to us because there's so much pressure to teach the language, but at the same time, you have to do so much more in the language classroom. Right, okay, very interesting. So you see, just in a couple of minutes, we came up with so many different ideas on this.
But the problem is, how can I make the team? And then you see so many people there, and then I need to have a lot of help to
This is a big production. In my classes, I had pairs, so 2 participants working on 1 video. It's manageable, I think, ideally, and today we're able to have 3 people in a group. We'll see, so hopefully by the end of today, you'll say, oh, this is, a piece of cake. I can do this in my classroom. Again, the software we're using is very straightforward. So, again, I'll go back to, we'll go into Second Life now, because we need a bit of time to become familiar with the environment before we start working on your script, right? Again, do feel, because it was one of the criticisms I received, some participants want to get practice with every single type of software, and if you feel that I haven't done enough filming or I haven't done enough editing, just please say so, and we'll find a way to give you practice with all these aspects so that you feel comfortable then, hopefully, to use this with your students. Okay? So now, if we now go into Second Life,